my gosh. That's terrible. I didn't like it.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Magic of the Midwest podcast. I am J.B. Michaels, USA Today best-selling author of many books, one of which comes out this Friday, July 24th, The Horde, Chronicles of the Order, Book 6. It is the sixth book in the Chronicles of the Order series. It is fantastic, supernatural thrillers.
Don't talk like
at
that.
your door. What?
Like, you're talking super fast.
We have a very cranky Ashley Michaels, the creator of the podcast, very cranks this morning.
JB has been home for far too long, and I can't take it anymore.
Oh, that's not it.
It is.
It's just your,
Nope.
It's just you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So yes, this is the what episode?
I think it's the 16th.
Yeah, Sweet 16 episode of the Magic in the Midwest podcast. Remember, please, this is sponsored by MrMichaels.com, MISTER, Michaels.com, where you can go get a free book. Check out the writing of one J.B. Michaels, contributor to the Magic in the Midwest podcast. And thank you again to all those who subscribe to us on Bandcamp. If you don't know what that means, yes, you can help the podcast out and do a subscription with the Bandcamp.com. Yes, you go to magicinthemidwestpodcast.bandcamp.com, and you literally get, of course, we always say it, double the episodes.
Yep.
So you get double the fun. We get a lot of good feedback about those episodes. And, we've had people re-listen to things over and over again because of how funny it can be at times.
At times.
At times. Today it won't be one of those days, guys.
Probably not,
She
guys.
is, and we're not good here. Whoa. So
Especially now that he
look
said
out.
that.
Look out, everybody. But thank you to those Bandcamp subscribers. And if you guys want to check out more Magic in the Midwest, just head on over to, the Bandcamp, magicinthemidwestpodcast.bandcamp.com. Thank you very much for listening. Today we are going to go back to our normal routine. We took a slight break. We did a little planning tips episode, kind of a planning overview of what Ash and I do before we go to Disney.
And we actually got a lot of great feedback from that. So we do plan on doing a planning series in the future.
Yes, we will be doing a planning series in the future. Probably when more people want to go there than right now, because not a lot of people do. If you do, that's great. Yeah. Whatever. Go ahead. Do what you gotta do. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yikes.
Shout out to the other Disney podcasters. Go ahead. All right. So today we're going to head back into the World Showcase. Mm-hmm. Last time we did a World Showcase episode, we did reviews, kind of overviews of Mexico and Norway. Today we're going to head into China. And we're going to head into China, and then we're going to head over into Germany after that. Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, the China Pavilion is really, really cool.
It is.
Yeah, it is very neat. And, this interesting thing about China is that, it's the world's, arguably, right? But, it's the world's oldest civilization, right? There's been, 3,000 years of, pretty well-documented history there. And it is a pretty big pavilion.
It is.
That doesn't always use its space for it. There's no like major ride attraction in China. It is really more about the architecture of China, and it's more about just sort of the feeling that you get while you're there. Okay, so you enter China. Okay, then there's like this, this ceremonial gate that's patterned after the Temple of Heaven in Beijing. So if like the World Showcase, if you look throughout the World Showcase, there's always going to be some architecture, some callback to the actual countries, right? Obviously, Mexico is a temple, like it's a giant Mayan temple. So I mean,
right.
Pretty obvious. If you go to Norway, you've got the Stave Church, right? Mm-hmm. The Norwegian Stave Church, the lawn rooftops. China, you got that ceremonial gate, and then of course you have this, the big, the pagoda type building that's beautiful, where they have the reflections of China, show, circle 360 circle vision film. So it basically was redone in January of 2020, the circle vision thing. But the interesting thing about this film is that you do not sit. It's a stand.
Oh, okay.
You just kind of walk in.
I don't think
and
I've
you
ever
stand.
seen it.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think I have either.
I don't think we've seen it. Okay. I feel like we were waiting to see it.
We were waiting to see it, and then
something happened, and we...
Yeah, something happened, or it was like the movie had just started, and we were like, oh, I guess we
decided to keep walking or go into a shop or something instead.
Yeah. So, so really, like, China has a couple different... There are, so there's the Reflections of China, which is a main attraction, in the Hall of Prayer. And then, of course, they do have the Terracotta Army, back on the, I think it's on the right side of the pavilion. You could actually see, like, a replica of that awesome Terracotta Army that's in the mausoleum of the first emperor, right? Yeah, exactly, which is really neat. So those are cool to check out. And really, like, I want to say, like, the right side of the China Pavilion is very, like, relaxed. Like, there's bamboo, and there's, like,
peacefulness.
It's more, it's bamboo, like a small waterfall.
Lots of plants.
Yeah, like plants, little walkways. It's much more chill. Mm-hmm. And whereas the other side of the China Pavilion is where, like, all the stores
more
are.
Commercial.
It's almost like one giant store, which is...
It is.
Yeah, on the left side, which is the House of Good Fortune.
What's the name of the... I can't think of it, and you're going to get upset with me. The name of the store on Main Street on the right-hand side just sort of keeps going.
The Emporium.
The Emporium. It sort of feels like that, because you just keep walking through the store in the China Pavilion. It just sort of keeps going.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. It really keeps going, like, really, like, well deep inside of it. The cool thing about the China Pavilion, too, is that you do get a really great character meet and greet.
Yep.
Or
Mulan.
I don't even know if right now they're not doing greet, right? You could see the characters now. But yeah, you could see Mulan in the China Pavilion, which is great. Sometimes Mushu comes out there as well. And there's an acrobatic show there in China,
which we've seen that, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's actually really neat. If you're walking past, usually it's like right under the arch, or right in front of the, right in between the arch and the Hall of Good Prayer, like right in the entryway. There's always like a cool show that they have to kind of attract people to the pavilion.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's it's a really, the China Pavilion is, I feel like I haven't spent nearly as much time in the China Pavilion as I have other pavilions. There's going to be always pavilions that you just don't spend as much time in. We do go into the, we do always kind of go into the shop and we kind of check things out, but we'll have to do that film next time.
Yeah,
were
we
there.
should. No, but
Yeah.
like JB said, I think like everyone's sort of drawn more to certain pavilions for whatever reason, dining reservations or you know, whatever. But yeah, we don't really spend a lot of time in there. But for me, the China Pavilion is like it feels extensive. It definitely feels like one of the bigger ones, but also just it's still very peaceful.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, we talk about the two different sides, I feel like it's a peaceful. I feel very relaxed when we're in the China Pavilion.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I do. It's beautiful. It's got a lot of color. It's a very nice pavilion. And yeah, you do feel relaxed, you know, kind of walking around, especially on that right side.
Mm-hmm. And there's lots of cool stuff in the store too.
Yeah, there's all sorts of things like silk clothes and, you know, pandas and jade, crystal, you know, pieces.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's really unique
coral
stuff.
pieces.
And some of the pieces are more, you know, like practical, like backpacks and, you know, whatever. But it's definitely a store worth checking out. If you're
definitely. And I'll be honest, I don't think you would think that everything would be super expensive in there, but it's really not.
It's not, yeah.
Yeah, like you should check out, you know, definitely go in there and check the prices out because I don't, you know, it's not bad.
Well, that's one thing about the World Showcase is like, you know, things you can find in those stores you're not really going to be able to find generally anywhere else on property.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, if you're in the Emporium or Mouse Gears or whatever,
yeah.
you'll sometimes run into the same things. Mm-hmm. Sometimes. But I mean, you're going to find really unique stuff in the stores at the World Showcase, which is really cool. So.
Yes. And definitely check it out. Also, I've eaten there once, I think, the Nine Dragons restaurant. Here's a weird thing. Nine Dragons is a sit-down restaurant. It's not the most, like, expensive, but it's a sit-down, and it almost always has availability.
Oh, really? Okay.
And it's not bad. It's definitely not a bad restaurant by any means.
What's the expensive restaurant?
That's the expensive restaurant. Nine Dragons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
I think you're thinking of Japan.
Oh, I am.
Yeah. No, it's Nine Dragons. And you could pretty much, honestly, I feel like the day of, you could maybe check it out, see if they have reservations, or just walk up.
How was the food?
It's good.
It was good?
It's Chinese food.
What about for picky eaters? Do they have options, like, I guess, chicken without sauce?
I think they probably have, like, kid options that you don't have to...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's a... You know, it's a decent, you know... It's not at all a bad, you know, experience, you know, Nine Dragons. It's just something that people, you know, maybe they have pork belly, they've got kung pao chicken, you know, fried rice, honey crispy chicken. It's pretty standard fare for Chinese food.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're familiar with Chinese food, then, you know, if you feel like Chinese, it's definitely not a bad option. There is a quick service option, too, if you want to do that as well.
I feel like we need to do that next time.
Yeah, over in China, the Lotus Blossom Cafe, it is called. Okay. Yes. So, China is really neat. If those acrobats are ever out there, definitely stop and check that out. And definitely go check out the store there. You know, it's really a neat store, honestly. All right, and then what else do we have? We've got there's a cool story about our nephew when he was little. Mm-hmm. In the Chinese restaurant, the Nine Dragons restaurant.
Okay.
I just remember he had such a great time.
Which nephew?
Clayton.
Oh.
Like I guess he was like just really laughing it up or something and having a good time at the
I think that
Chinese restaurant.
They because Clayton has this very distinct, like, he's very light skinned and has very like white blonde hair. So I think he, you know, a lot of the people working in the restaurant were like, you know, drawn to Clay because he has such a different, you know, coloring and look, and they were, you know, he was kind of flirting with the girl. Yeah,
he was little.
And he was little,
sort of like
he was sort of
laughing and hamming it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was cute, you know. Yeah, I remember them talking about that. It's one of the few, you know, that was I remember them telling us that story about Clay loving the Chinese restaurant and the China Pavilion. Yep. So, you know, China. Okay, so Ash, now you got to give me a rating here out of 10 because it doesn't have like a major attraction. You know, what are your feelings, thoughts on China? Like, what would you rate it?
I would rate it. I still think I would rate it pretty high, like an 8.
Okay.
Because I feel like it has a lot to offer, and I like that it has the 2 different sides, so you can kind of get. Whoa, guys! Someone is cutting the grass right by our house. But you know, there's a huge store where you can spend a lot of time. There's a lot of cool things in there. I think just the feeling of being in the China Pavilion is, you know, really awesome. It kind of feels like a relaxing, peaceful experience.
Yes.
You can meet Mulan, and then what was the show called? The show
Reflections of China.
Yeah, that, and I don't know. I think the architecture is really cool for me, regardless of it having like an attraction. I think it's a really great, you know, pavilion. I give it an 8 out of 10.
Do not. Yeah, I'll be honest. Do not skip it. Definitely don't skip it.
I mean, there's so much to see. I feel like we haven't seen.
It's a weird thing. Here's a weird psychological thing. Norway is the one that's before this. If you're going from Mexico through Norway then to China, you know, you get down with Frozen Ever After, and then you feel like psychologically, at least I do, I feel like I got to keep going after that. Like I've spent too much time on this side of the World Showcase.
We gotta go.
And I want to keep going to the other parts of the World Showcase because I've been over here for a long time. I went on, you know, the Grand Fiesta Tour, and then I went on Frozen Ever After, and you know what I mean? So it's like I feel like, oh man, we've been over here, and there's so much more to see and do. And you know what? You do sort of sometimes find yourself getting pulled in that direction. Like, oh, I want to keep going. But why?
Well, yeah, and you know, one of our listeners also said to us that they feel like they don't really spend any time in the Mexico Pavilion because they're running to their Frozen
Ever After Fest.
Now, listen, guys, you know, I know some listeners have kids, or you know, in Disney, right? We're always trying to keep a schedule most of the time. You don't have time, mostly, to stop and take the time in every pavilion. But if you're someone that goes often, you should maybe pick one that you don't spend a lot of time in and make, you know, set aside some time to like spend a little bit more of your time in that pavilion and kind of explore it. Yeah. It's definitely worth it. And I could see kids really enjoying it too because of the stores and kind of running around and looking at different things, I think.
Yes.
You're always gonna discover things you didn't notice before, I think.
Yeah, you really do. Yeah, it's one of those weird things. It's like, how much time do you have? You know what I mean? How much time do you have? And, you know, how do you budget that time? There's 11 countries to see. Yeah. You know, and like,
we wouldn't be able to take the time to do each one like slowly, and,
right?
You know, whatever. But
yeah, so I mean, you kind of have to pick and choose, and well, yeah, especially for us, since like we usually, it's like you're almost, because of the way Epcot is, and the way it's set up, it's almost like you separate out your day because the park is technically 2 parks. Yeah, like Epcot is huge. And it's really 2 theme parks in one.
It is. And it like you said, not only that, but it's so spread out. So I feel like, yeah, you spend time in Future World, yeah.
Whoa. Future
Whoa. Well, I was like, Jeez, wait, is that right? It's because of the stupid mower. And then, you know, half the day is over. Man. You guys, this is the last podcast.
Yeah, it's real, the mower.
JB's gonna be on.
Yeah, it's just the mower, everybody. Oh boy.
And then, you know, half your day is over, probably, or maybe more, and then you're running over to the World Showcase, depending on how you know.
Yeah, how you do it. I mean, it's weird.
But I do feel like you. I think a lot of times, and I think a lot of people are guilty of this, including us. You just sort of walk through And you kind of enjoy what you can see from the walk. Like
That's
you
it.
walk through the World Showcase, you're like, oh, look at that. And then you keep going.
Just keep going.
And, you know, I get
Why?
it. Because
Why do
you
we
have
do
a
this?
schedule, you have something like a dining reservation you're getting to, or you need to get back to the hotel. Your kid's having a tantrum. You're having a tantrum. If you're with me, I'm probably having a tantrum.
Right.
It's hot,
No.
but it is...
Well, sometimes,
It is worth it to go into the shops and stuff because, one, they're air-conditioned. But also just because they're really unique and cool.
Yeah.
So, you know, it maybe a doable thing would be to pick one country, one pavilion, and explore that more extensively.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I definitely encourage everybody to do it. I mean, definitely check out China, but really just don't go to, but there's a whole other side. Like mostly people go into the shop and they ignore the other stuff. Go in there.
Just walk around.
Yeah. And go in there and check things out. Right. I mean, it's one of those things. It's because of the nature of Epcot. I feel like we never have enough time in World Showcase. But that just means we have to go to World Showcase more. We just have to commit to doing that as part of our plan,
Well, and I think you can tell by the way the crowds manifest is that I think the crowds are all doing they're walking by. Usually if you walk into a pavilion more, you're kind of away from the crowds.
Right.
There's not as many people in them as just sort of walking around the perimeter.
Yes. And World Showcase also opens later. It opens at 11 every day. Yeah. Obviously they let people go to Norway. Yes. For Frozen Ever After, but everything else is closed.
You stay at the boardwalk.
This was weird. So, and I don't know, is it like because of like advantages? Like they didn't want to.
But shouldn't that be an advantage? They advertise it as one.
It still is, I guess, because sort of. So this was weird. This is a weird little thing that happened to us, and we don't know if this is common practice. Let us know if you guys know. But we were excited because we got our Frozen Ever After Fast Pass. It was our first trip. First thing of our trip.
Yeah.
On our first day, first morning. It was
our first trip. If I said that.
Right.
Whoa.
It was not our first trip.
It was our most recent
so
trip.
we stayed at the boardwalk. Now, here's the deal. The boardwalk is technically behind the World Showcase. So, you can walk to the International Gateway, they call it, which is another entrance into Epcot.
Yeah.
And we thought, this will be great because we enter right by France and we could just then scoot right over to Norway.
Right over.
And go that way.
Yeah.
Now, when you're looking at World Showcase, it probably actually doesn't matter. We're sort of on the diametrically opposite side, I think, almost.
I don't know.
We kind of almost are. I don't know if it's equally distant to go through France and America and go that way to Norway, or going the other way, which is through the UK and Canada and all the way around.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Part of me thinks that it's a little bit shorter to go the other way. I could be wrong. Maybe it's just a brain perspective thing. Right, you said. Right. Sometimes you would think something's shorter and it's not. But yeah. Anyways, go on.
It is weird. So, but basically they like funneled us. We were like, okay, we're just going to go walk right there. And they funneled us the other way. They funneled us to where people walk in through the main entrance of Epcot. Not all the way there, but like the main entrance of World Showcase from Future World.
Instead of being able to go through World Showcase, we had to walk around so that we would be we would meet up with the people walking in from the main gate. Yeah. I almost felt like it took us a little extra time, and that advantage of staying at the boardwalk, which they talk about, this is an advantage of staying at the boardwalk, was sort of didn't matter. Yeah. Actually, maybe we didn't have a fast pass, and that's why it mattered. We were trying to get in there.
I guess it might be actually. Now that I'm looking at the map, it might actually be slightly shorter to go the way they pushed us.
Okay, well then I guess we don't really have a story.
Well, no, but I was wondering why were they forcing us to go one way?
I don't think they forced us to go that way because it's shorter. I think they forced us to go that way because they didn't want to staff that area of the park.
Yeah, you're right. Duh.
Because Epcot opens before the World Showcase, except for Frozen, which is obviously in the Norway Pavilion. Yikes.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But,
yeah.
We weren't able to walk. We had to sort of what felt like kind of do a roundabout way, but maybe now it's not.
Yeah, it might not have been that bad. I was just confused because I was like, why can't we just go this way?
But I think if they were going to open the other countries for us to walk through, then they would have to have staff members all around, making sure people weren't going somewhere they weren't supposed to.
See, that's we worked through this, guys. We worked through it. We thought
already knew that
logistically of things, right? I was just wondering. So anyway, even when you get into the International Gateway and you've got a Frozen Fast Pass, the rest of World Showcase isn't open. You just have to walk around to go to Frozen Ever After, which I guess is nice that they allow you to do that because it's such a high demand ride. But anyway, why don't we head now to Germany, Ash?
Yes.
Oh, wait, you didn't give a rating of China. You said 8 out of 10.
I did. You didn't give it.
You know what? I'll be honest. I'm going to give China a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Only because I feel like there's more that can be done there, So I don't know. I just feel like there's maybe some other things that they can do. But I guess, I don't know. I guess it doesn't need a ride, but
I
don't think it does. I don't think it needs a ride. I don't think it needs a ride. I got to go back in there and just kind of spend some more time there. All right, so now you head over. You head now to the Germany Pavilion, with a fountain of St. George slaying a dragon in the middle of it. And basically, this sort of looks like a
German
Bavarian village.
Yeah.
The Germany Pavilion. There's a cool castle, with some turrets and stuff like that, and some spires in the Germany Pavilion. But it looks, it looks similar to Pinocchio's village house in Magic Kingdom. Sort of.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does.
But yes, so Germany is a place that I've spent more time in just because I've gone to the beer garden a few times to have dinner and have that show.
Yeah, which we've talked about.
Yes.
We talked about it somewhere else.
Yes.
We did. Okay.
We did. Well, we talked about it in a SmackDown. A restaurant SmackDown. So basically, Germany is, a very traditional... here's the other thing about the World Showcase. Especially for countries that are old, that have an older tradition, they're usually it's more nostalgic.
Yeah.
We're not really getting modern interpretations of these countries. Right? We're getting... Even America is colonial. The American adventure is colonial. So you're getting sort of a nostalgic, historical, picture of these snapshots of these countries. So again, this is another pavilion that does not have a ride or a major attraction. So,
Yeah.
But it has a bunch of cool little shops. That's kind of what it's known for. It's got some neat shops inside of it. One is a teddy bar where you could get, stuffed animals, medieval themed toys. And then you could get beer steins. There's cool beer stein shop you could go into. Some cuckoo clocks and hand-painted eggs and... there's there's a lot of cool different, it feels, China has a lot of the culture too, but again, all these shops just, drip with German tradition or, in China, Chinese tradition. And then of course you've got the glassware shops and you could grab you don't have to go to the beer garden, which is the main dining hall. which is always Oktoberfest all the time. You could go to Summerfest, which is a quick service restaurant that you get a brat, and some, sauerkraut and pretzels and strudel and all that kind of fun stuff.
Yum.
Yes, and then of course you get caramel corn, caramel apples at the Caramel Couche shop. So I guess there are, some hidden Mickeys around there. There's hidden Mickeys everywhere.
Yeah.
But you should definitely try and check out those hidden Mickeys.
Yeah.
But yeah, Germany Pavilion, Ash.
Thoughts?
Yeah, thoughts.
I always, whenever we first walk up to the Germany Pavilion, I always think of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Oh yeah, because we've walked past there, and Snow White does a character meet and greet there too.
Oh, she does?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, you've never seen it?
I don't know.
We've seen her.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like a lot of
I know
staff-
Madison, our niece, has had pictures with her at that spot.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I always think of that, which I think is cool because, that's the original Disney animated, full-length film.
What? Pinocchio? What are you talking about?
Snow White.
Snow White. Okay.
Obviously, not Pinocchio.
Yes, not Pinocchio.
Well,
Sorry,
I know,
go
but
ahead.
I just said Snow White.
Yes.
So pay attention.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
So anyways, I think that's really cool. And then, for me, I am German, so there's like that extra, that kind of makes it
Gives
cool
you a little more
to
extra.
discover
Right.
a pavilion. But I really like the beer garden, as we talked about in another podcast or Bandcamp exclusive, whatever. It's really good entertainment in there, and the food's pretty good, an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Yes.
And I really love the little shops. Like I love the little Christmas shop, and it's cool. To me, it feels a little bit more. After walking through China, it feels a little bit more quaint, a little bit more. I don't know. It's like
intimate.
It's intimate. Yeah. It's smaller. At least it feels smaller. I don't know if it is.
No, it is. It feels small. Well, no, the interiors feel smaller.
Yeah.
Except for the beer garden. Everything else feels smaller. And it's meant to be like that.
Yeah.
Like a quaint village.
And even when you walk into the beer garden, like the front of it looks kind of small because of the way that it's built.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I love the Germany Pavilion. I think it's really cool. And like I said, it reminds me of, Snow White because I feel like some of the architecture looks like, it kind of reminds me of like the little cottage.
Well,
but
I mean,
it's cool. It's a cool pavilion.
Well, yeah, Grimm's fairy tales.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, these are German in origin.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the fairy tales are. So yeah, no, it is a really neat place. There is, I don't know. Okay. It smells.
It smells?
The Germany Pavilion smells.
I don't even know.
It smells like sauerkraut.
Oh, does it?
Yes.
Okay.
Like it just like you walk into it and it has that sauerkraut smell. Because people are grabbing some
kraut,
some brats with some sauerkraut and some frankfurters and slopping that stuff on there, and it just kind of smells. So that's one thing I do really remember from the Germany.
Oh, I mean, that makes sense.
Is sauerkraut smell.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But what are your thoughts on the beer garden itself, Ash? The actual restaurant. You've been there. We went there with your dad.
I don't think the
mom.
food is like the most amazing food you'll ever eat, but I do feel like it's pretty good for a buffet. I mean, I enjoyed it. I think it's really hearty food, like potatoes and meat and that type of thing.
Yeah.
But
gravy.
I think that the atmosphere feels like fun. It feels like a fun atmosphere, and the entertainment, like I said, I thought was really good. I really enjoyed it.
Right.
But it sort of does give you that Oktoberfest. It's sort of loud in there, and you're sitting with other people depending on the size of your party.
Yeah.
But if you haven't eaten there, I mean, I wouldn't I would say it's definitely something you should experience.
Yeah.
And it's a great place to take younger kids because it's so loud.
It's loud, it's fun, it's a good show.
And I think the kids get to go up at one point, and I don't think you'll be blown away by the food. But it's not, we've had worse buffets on property.
Yes.
I would say it's,
Yes.
it's, I enjoyed the food. I thought it was fine.
Yes. And there is like a polka band that performs outside as well, polka music and everything. Germany, you're right. I guess you're right. Whereas China, you feel sort of like this.
I use Germany, I think.
Call for like
reflection.
Yeah, reflection and very, but also structure. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and I just said that I thought Germany felt more intimate, but I also think of because of the setting, but I also think of this
shops
is bad,
are small,
but like people drinking beer and being like loud,
right, in the beer garden,
yeah,
right,
like it's
and that happens. That happens in the show, yeah. So it's it definitely the thing about the Germany Pavilion. It almost is probably, arguably, the most well themed.
Yeah, and it doesn't
it feels cool.
It doesn't feel overwhelming either. Like,
no.
I think that you can walk in there and walk through the shops, and it really doesn't take super long if you're just sort of exploring it. I mean, it could take longer. Whereas the China Pavilion, is vast.
Yes.
Which is good, but it's I think it just comes down to preference too, like aesthetic and stuff that you like. But I always really enjoy. I'm sort of drawn to the Germany Pavilion. I really like it.
Well, here's the thing: you're talking about China, which has 3,000 years worth of history, and is a huge civilization.
Right. Totally.
Most populous country on earth. And also history, architecture, big buildings, big structures, big cities, throughout its history. And then you've got Germany, which, is reflective of a small village. And that's
the magic of the World Showcase is that you're how awesome is it to just sort of walk through and discover these different pavilions and how different they feel, which I think is a testament to how it was built.
And believe me, ladies and gentlemen, it is no accident that Disney wanted to have Germany and Japan in the World Showcase.
What do you mean?
Because a lot of the guys that worked on this project on Epcot and developed it and fought in World War II.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're talking about things that Disney was like, well, no, we're going to reach out, right? We're at peace now, so we want to have these countries in here. There's a lot of other elements that come into play, in the choices of these countries, right? So something to think about. There's a lot of. It's actually quite interesting thinking about the World Showcase through a historical lens. Is crazy because this is gonna sound macabre, right? Mm-hmm. But like the Mexico Pavilion is a Mayan temple, and those temples, were sacrifices were made on the top of them, and the bodies were thrown down the steps.
Right. Right.
I mean like the dead. So it's like when you look at it through like the reality lens, it's like, holy cow, this is actually this structure is
intense.
Pretty intense, like in its history.
Yeah.
So like, and obviously Germany, we know Germany has a dark past. I mean, every country has darkness in it. I mean, it's human nature, but so. It's really neat. And also, I mean, for people that like medieval times and medieval lore and that kind of thing, the Germany Pavilion will scratch that itch, I think. It's got that. You got the shields everywhere, too, that kind of architecture, the like I said, the turrets and everything. But yeah, I like the beer garden as well. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's definitely worth doing at least once with your family.
Yeah, I think so.
Do it. Yeah, I would definitely make a reservation and try it out, and
see if it's for you.
Have some beers and See if it's for you.
Have some
there's
salt.
There's also
some
wine.
Salt, some carbs.
Right.
Some meat.
Then walk out, get some fudge and some nuts and some pretzels. You know?
We're all about the food.
Let's just...
It's vacation.
Just blow up in Germany. Let's do it.
All right.
All right. Yeah. So, all right. Give me your review of the Germany pavilion. Give me the scale here.
I'm going to give Germany a 9 out of 10. And I feel like that's just like a personal thing. I don't know. I just like it. I feel like I'm knocking off a point strictly because of the food. And beer garden. I think it could be better. It's like I said, we've had worse buffet food on property, much worse.
Yeah.
And in the World Showcase, we've had worse dining, like table service food.
Right. Right.
But other than that, I mean, I think it's really cool. I mean, I just really enjoyed the Germany Pavilion, and I really like the shops and the general feel of it, and how it feels like a little German village with different things to. Look at and different things to look at. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I give it a 9 out of 10. I like it.
Yeah.
For me personally.
I think I will agree with your rating. Okay. Right. Yeah. The food doesn't knock you for a loop. Like it just doesn't. Like you're not like, holy cow, you got to go to Germany for the food. You never say that, right? And you have to include that in your rating, right? Because it's a big part of the experience. So I would say probably 9 out of 10. But definitely check out Germany as well. Germany always, I'll be honest though, it's one of those pavilions that always feels more crowded.
Well, and I think that shows you that
it's more popular.
People like it.
Yeah. But it is crowded. It is. So if you could try to get there, I don't know when it would be a good time to go. Maybe right when it opens.
Well, you know what? We talked about this too, is that the World Showcase sort of has this, there's this thing where, because there's alcohol, that people are drinking in there, and there are some more rowdy crowds kind of going around. And I think that Germany is definitely one of those countries that people tend to be a little bit more, like you're going to hear people more in Germany. I feel like people will kind of stand there and have more drinks and be a little bit more rowdy. Some crowds. Yeah. Where I don't feel like you find that in every pavilion. I feel like some are more like they just draw people in, and they kind of like, I think because it kind of has like this louder beer garden type, Oktoberfest, like, we can stand here and it can feel like college for a minute. Like sometimes you'll find a little bit of that sloppiness in Germany. Yeah. Where I don't usually find that in China.
Other places.
You notice it more in some countries than other. And I'm not saying like it's there's a bunch of slop tarts in Germany. I'm just saying that sometimes, depending on the time that you're there, if it's later, you could run into that. You could.
That's a very good point. You're right. And for me, a big draw, like you said earlier, is the Christmas shop. Mm-hmm. So head out.
Cool. It's super cool.
Yeah, get an ornament in there. Yeah. And remember,
smell the sauerkraut. Yeah. Get an ornament.
Literally, talk to everybody in China Pavilion. Strike up a conversation with the people there. And in the Germany Pavilion, do the same.
Really, if you're not doing that, you're missing out. It
adds to the experience.
It does.
And cast
they
members
really want to talk to you.
They do. Because for them this is cool, right? It's Disney World. It's America. It's different. It's something different for them. Like it used to be surprised how many people say they come from like a very small town in Germany, or like from a very,
it's really cool.
So you're like, what is that like? You know what I mean? Like, what is that like? So you want to mind that and talk to people about that.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah. So, great. So Ash gave, let's do a little, recap. Ash gave China an 8 out of 10. I gave it a 7. And Ash we both gave a 9 out of 10 to Germany. Okay, so, all right, so that is all, ladies and gentlemen, for this week's Magic in the Midwest podcast. Please check us out on Facebook.com/Magic in the Midwest or Instagram.com/Magic in the Midwest podcast. Please subscribe, Magic in the Midwest podcast.bandcamp.com.
Magic in the Midwest podcast, Magic in the Midwest podcast.
We say that multiple times, Magic in the Midwest podcast.
Magic in the Midwest.
So also email us, contact us, let us know how we're doing. Rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get the podcast from. I really appreciate this conversation, Ashley.
Me too.
Yeah, we rallied.
Me too.
You were crabby, and now you're not as crabby.
Can we wrap this up?
There was character development. All right. Love you, everybody. From the Midwest. See you later.